if you had to like pick something that was like your main motivation to join the military, are you saying because your situational awareness, like you knew where you were at and I knew that I had to find a way to get away from it? Was it, now you kept mentioning 9/11. Was there something about it to where you're like, okay, I feel patriotic. I feel like it's my duty to serve my country. Because obviously it wasn't because of people, like, and a lot of people, they end up joining because like their dad or their grandpa or something like that, you know, and they speak highly of them. And, you know, they remember the memories of maybe like I do of my, you know, my dad waking up in the morning, house smelling like Stay Flow, ironing their camis and spit shining boots, you know, but since you didn't have that, like, what would you say was your main motivation to join the military?
Honestly, man, I really think it was, I know for a fact it was 9/11 because I remember walking in, you know, my first class that I had on that day was a French class. It was my elective. And so I remember very vividly just walking in the class and they bring that rollout, you know, TV with the VCR and everything that they plug into the wall.
I forgot all about
Yeah,
that.
man. So they roll out that big 27-inch giant tube TV
That's
on the wheels.
crazy.
They roll it in and they're just like, you know, hey, we're gonna show you guys some stuff. We're gonna put on the news because, you know, something happened. Something went down in New York, and we think it's a terrorist attack. And so they put it on, and just everybody was silent. Like normally we're all messing around. No one's paying attention in this class. The teacher's pretty cool. She doesn't care. She's getting paid, you know. And
Right.
and so we're sitting there, and I just remember being like really shocked, man. Like what the hell? Like this is going on here in our country. And I just felt this huge like I couldn't walk away from it. Like I needed to do something, you know what I mean?
Right.
And even if it meant like, you know, at first I you know, I didn't know what the Marine Corps was. Like I didn't know there was any other branch other than like the Army and the Air Force.
Right.
And, and
So no
so
Navy, huh? Yeah.
no, dude.
If there's Navy out there, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but honestly, bro, like, cause like I said, I didn't have any other like family or friends or relatives that were in the service. So all I knew was the Army, you know. And
Right.
by chance, I happened to come across a good, you know, Marine Corps recruiter that was like, hey, man, like you can, like, there's a service out there that's way better than all of them, and like check out this uniform. And you know, once I saw those dress blues, I was like, all right, man,
Dude, you got me, all right?
I was like, all right, those look pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's what led me to it. It was just a huge sense of just a call to duty, man, a call to do something and serve something greater than me, you know.
Right.
Because in the moment, I was just like, you know, I thought about going to college and stuff, but I was just like, you know what, I'm not disciplined enough. I don't have the grades for it. I've been slacking off too much in school, and it was just a, you know, I'm glad I did it because it ended up working out for me pretty well, you know.
Right. No, that's awesome too. And I know you spoke a little bit about like when we talked about your entrepreneurial spirit, we talked about, you said you had some type of interest in stocks and whatnot. So we're definitely going to get to that. But if you can kind of like speak a little bit about your Marine Corps experience from the time of PSC FRAUSTO to the time that you actually transitioned out, and then also how the stocks kind of fit in before and afterwards. So we can give that quick little timeline. Yeah.
Yeah, how we doing? We're doing good on time. We're all right?
Absolutely.
Right,
So I try to do like the first half is more of story, and the second half is, well, it's going to tie in anyways because what you bring is the whole grit mindset and transitioning out. So realistically, it all ties in together. So yeah, we definitely got time.
Yeah, man. So like I ended up signing up. I ended up leaving, like, you know, graduated, shipped off, went to, you know, back in '04, went to the Marine Corps. You know, I got off, man, instantly, like, you know the feeling, man. Like got off that bus in San Diego or got off the flight in San Diego, and I was just like, holy like, what did I get myself into, man? Do I really
Right.
like, I started questioning my you know, everything. I was like, dude, do I really want to be here? And, you know, obviously I went through all of those steps. I, you know, in boot camp, which I gotta say, you know, I thought my drill instructors were real cool until I actually became a drill instructor. And then I realized that they were like the sweetest dudes in the entire world, man. I was just like,
Wow.
I was so disappointed, man. I was like, it's funny because, you know, I one time in third phase, I freaking my drill instructor, his name was my third hat. He was a Puerto Rican dude, and he
Uh-huh.
sounded just like Scarface, bro. His name was his name was Sergeant Cartagena, and he would get pissed off, man, because he'd look at us and be like, "Eyeballs," he'd be like, "Juhos, don't you dare call me Scarface. Scarface is Puerto Rican. I'm Cuban." And he'd sit there and like, you know, go off on us and stuff. But one day in third phase, dude, I'm sitting there like polishing my shoes, getting them ready for the battalion commander's
Yeah,
inspection.
yeah.
And this dude just looks grimy. He looks like, you know, eyes bloodshot, you know, terrible 5 o'clock shadow. Dude's he's struggling, right? And he's like, "Hey man," he just looks at me. He's like, "Look at me," and I'm like, "Yes sir." He's like, "Don't you ever do this job." He told me that in boot camp, man. And I remember, you know,
And you
I
didn't
remember,
listen.
dude, I didn't listen, man. I remember being I was a brand new drill instructor on my like the very first I want to say like right after that first F1. I was just like, I remember I was in the head and I was just like sitting there and I was like dripping wet because we had just barely put them to sleep for the first night. And I was just like, damn man. His voice came into my head and I was just like, I should have listened to him. This sucks. This sucks so bad, man. I know, man.
That's how I felt in
It,
DI school.
yeah, man.
Man, I don't care. It's so funny how when people want to act tough, they always go, "Man, boot camp was fun to me. I'd go back in a heartbeat." And you're like,
No, you
bro,
wouldn't.
you can't even handle simple tasks. Like, I know you don't want to be in boot camp. Stop trying to
Yeah.
act tough, you know, or the high school wasn't as bad as it. Listen, I'm not saying it's like the worst thing in the world, but if you're sitting up here saying DI school was easy, then you must have not gone during a certain time.